before we get to the debut of NXT on network TV, let's talk about the little bit of WWE Raw you watched, which included one of the most highly anticipated matches of recent times.
You have gone completely, absolutely Berjork over Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, haven't you?
Braun Strowman, for those who have never heard Jim's nicknames before, Braun Strowman.
Well, that's what I said, or thereabouts. Well, point is, you've gone crazy.
No, I haven't. I appreciate entertaining TV. The crowds are reacting. You don't necessarily see that on all the wrestling shows. You never know what's going to happen when the freaks fight.
You want to see the Winnebago run into the fucking hatchback soccer mom's van.
This is the kind of match Jack Pfeffer would have been in the back watching.
Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give it.
Can you imagine the program?
He would have done the poster.
Can you? Yeah, I was going to say, can you imagine the program? See fat man fly against giant freak.
He has to flap his arms so you can tell whether he's rolling or walking, ladies and gentlemen.
Top attraction in all of Europe, no matter who it is.
Fresh off sellout crowd in Fresno.
But
yes, you've gone crazy over this program. And by the way, the rest of Raw, it's not that there wasn't anything good. Punk and Drew had a good promo, but nothing really happened. They just cut a promo on the match coming up, and we already want to see it. And there was some other thing. It's a long show. But here, the big news. Hold on. Got to go back to my notes here before we talk about Bronson and Brown. Where do they... Hold on, I made sure to write this down. God, yes, it's next Monday. What is next Monday? Next Monday, October the 7th, Raw goes to 2 hours.
Oh.
So that's why I wrote that down.
What do you think of that?
Well, hopefully we'll get shorter matches amongst mid-card people and maybe not so much backstage foolery where they just stand there and fucking meander on for a few minutes.
What's it going to be like going back to 3 hours after they do that? Because this is a temporary thing, I think they announced, right?
Well, maybe if we all write in and say, boy, we like it so much better that way, we'll watch more of the cock if you'll just... Or the Netflix, whatever it's going to be on.
I guess this is that gap period where they had to sign a new short-term agreement. Short-term agreement with USA Network, and it wasn't for the 3 hours, it was for the 2.
Yes. And so we get a vacation. Vacation, all I ever wanted.
Are they on the air at 8 or 9?
Well, now that's a good question. Is it going to be 8 to 10 or 9 to 11?
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to find out.
You like the Go-Go's? You like Belinda Carlisle?
I love Belinda Carlisle.
What about Jane Weedland?
Jane Weedland is probably my favorite. The other one, what was her name? Twiggy McCarthy? What was the big tall blonde one?
I don't know who Twiggy.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Charlotte may have been her name. I don't think it was Twiggy McCarthy.
Charlotte Flair?
No, it was a different Charlotte. I think it was
Charlotte, North Carolina. Charlotte's Web. Charlotte Bronte.
Whoever it was,
how deep can I go?
You were about to insult her, whoever she was, but you like Belinda and Jane, is what you said?
Yes, Belinda and Jane. But back to Bronson and Brown. So they've been doing the thing where they're splashing the cars and they're wrecking things and they're just killing each other. And so they booked them in a last monster standing match where there's no rules, ladies and gentlemen. I know as hard as this is for you to believe, there's no rules. Anything goes, no disqualification. And you got to be down for the 10 count to lose the match. And within the first 30 seconds, Braun had chokeslammed Reed through the fucking announce desk and they'd gone to the break. They build this thing up, they get him in the ring, they go 30 seconds, they break the fucking desk, and we'll be right back. That's like if Mickey Mantle was playing for the Mets and he fucking broke his leg sliding into second base, would you go right to commercial or would you hang with it to see if everybody was still breathing?
I think this is more like if you knew Mickey Mantle was going to strike out, would you just stop and go right to the commercial?
I don't think it's like that, but nevertheless. So they came back.
No, it's like Heyman. Heyman used to hide everyone's You know, what they couldn't do by like selectively editing, WWE just goes to commercial.
Either that or I saw, God, was it on one of the girls' matches, or maybe it was on NXT or whatever? This girl was throwing kicks that were so bad they had to cut the camera just every time because she wasn't even coming within the zip code of these people. But anyway, so they come back from the break, and just in time for us to see Mr. Strongman knock Mr. Reed off the apron through 6 chairs that they have carefully set up into a geometric pattern on the floor.
I hate you, so I'm going to set up all these chairs so it has a perfect landing for you, right?
I'm in the fight of my life. So while you're over there unmolested, down and potentially, able to be victimized, I'm going to spend my time setting up the fucking Rubik's Cube of goddamn folding chairs. So then, and by the way, in between all of these things that I'm talking about, they're moving like they're wearing concrete fucking boots. And Braun he was walking like he was stove up when the thing started, wasn't he? Or does he always walk like that?
By the end of it, he looked, he was walking like maybe he was feeling it a little bit, but I didn't notice it at the beginning.
Well,
these are two hard-hitting giants of the mat.
Giants of the monsters of the mat. There you go. They fought back to the entranceway, and Bronson Reed picked up Braun and gave him a DVD off an equipment case through a couple of tables. And then they went back to the ring. And then they took another break. And then they came back in time to see Bronson Reed tackle the big SOB through the barricade between the ringside area and the timekeeper pit, and then he broke him through the other one, through into the people. And then they got back to the ring. But then, and this is...
The longer this went on, the more entertaining I found it. Because early on, I was like, Jim was right. This sucks. This is like plotting and this. And then the longer it went on, it became such a freak show spectacle. I loved it.
It was like, what else are they going to... And here was the thing. It was getting good. It was getting so bad it was good, like you said. But when they broke through the barricade, the referee jumps down there, and he's consulting with 15 security guards, right? And that's when Bronson...
This is when it got good, when there's just people running around all over the place.
Well, yeah, but why did the referee was the only one who spoke, Bulgarian to be able to tell the foreign, security crew what it needs to be done? Why did the referee... They're back in the ring. Bronson Reed does a splash off the top. There's no referee. And then he does another splash. So then he goes out and starts throwing security in the ring. But why did the referee why would he leave the ring when there was 15 people addressing the broken barricade? See, I have a problem with that. Apparently you didn't.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying I was entertained by this whole thing.
All right, well then...
I will admit, this is not a match that I watched looking for logic. This is an example of the opposite.
Well, then here comes the spot. Because now the referee is in the ring, or is out of the ring, and Bronson Reed's hit a couple splashes. Well, he can't get anybody to count, so he goes out there and starts throwing security into the ring. But did you notice sometimes he'd just grab them and just either headbutt them or just throw them in the ring? But when he threw them in the ring, wherever they ended up rolling is where they laid there like they were dead, and they were unmoving for the rest of the night. There's still 3 of them in there when this whole thing is finished. So then Bronson Reed grabs Adam Pearce and is going to throttle him. But suddenly, Mr. Strongman is on the top rope and he dives off onto the group of 15 people. Now, here's the goddamn thing. Yes, there's 15 people down there, but he's only going to hit about 4 or 5 of them. And who are those unlucky son of a bitches in the middle? I would dive off the top rope onto 15 fucking people. I'd be covering my nuts. But goddamn, what could that have felt like to those people on the floor when this flying Greyhound bus comes at them? Seriously, the elbows, the knees, the whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
So then everybody sold that forever. And probably some of them meant it. And then they get back in the ring. And like I said, that's when the security guys are still laying there where they've been. And Bronson Reed goes for the superplex. And he gets it. And as they go over, boom, they land and the ring collapses. And the fucking referee takes a bump out onto the floor. I like the referee's bump the best. And somehow they had, if you watched it back in slow motion, which I did, they had gimmicked two of the ring posts to fold in at a certain point, which dropped the ropes, and it gave a hell of a collapse, illusion or whatever. And I don't know how they do this shit, but they've got more money in the federal government now, so they can do anything they want. But then everybody's laying there selling immobile, right? Oh my God. And the stairs are in the ring and the dead bodies are in the ring. And then here comes Seth Franklin Rollins. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. You remember that no good Bronson Reed splashed him and hurt him. He rolled in the ring and curb stomps Bronson Reed on the stairs and then fucking jumps out, and Braun Strowman gets to his feet by the 10 count to win the thing, and he wins the Monster Mayhem or whatever the fuck this thing was. But yes, it was a spectacle, wasn't it, Brian?
I thought I really got into it just because it was such a mess. And then, it was one of those things where the guy interferes and cost the guy the match, but it made so much sense it didn't bother me at all. Seth Rollins got a major reaction.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, that was perfect. At least they tied up that loose end. But now, hopefully, we may see some Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed rather than having the Mack truck and the fucking U-Haul dumpster, have any more of these matches. I like Bronson Reed, but I like him when he can be big against somebody and use the power stuff, and he's so impressive with that, and have the other guy be the smaller guy that used the speed, etc., instead of the two Mack trucks bumping into each other. And Brown, I understand, they made money with giant people in wrestling since the dawn of wrestling. So it's not that I'm saying there's no place for him, but goddamn, the more you see, except if he needs to be a special partner, a goddamn attraction of some kind. Did you say the other night, on a week or two ago on Raw, he's doing the choo-choo running around the ring to shoulder tackle people, and he ran and missed the fucking guy. And the guy took a bump anyway, but you could even not slow-mo, just watch it. He missed the fucking guy who was standing there stationary, ready to be run into. And he just waved his arm as he went by, and the guy took a bump for him. I'm like, you gotta, small doses, don't like the single matches, make him a special tag team partner, etc. Braun Strowman should be seen sparingly and hurt a little bit less.
And maybe run less, because it's not like he picks up speed. It looks like he hurts himself every time he starts to run. But Jim,
maybe he was ruptured. That's why he couldn't run into the stationary target. But Jim,
that was
yes,
WWE Raw.
It certainly was, Brian.